Today's show is brought to you by HomebrewSupply.com. Homebrew Supply is your one-stop shop for brew day ingredients, recipes, equipment, and more. Take advantage of everyday low pricing and everyday flat rate shipping only at HomebrewSupply.com. Go to HomebrewSupply.com right now and use our promo code HHH to get 5% off your order. HomebrewSupply.com. Let us help make your brew day better.
Entertaining shows with content that spreads information and sparks discourse throughout the community. This is the Pearl Media Network.
It's our 2020 year-end show. This is Homebrew Happy Hour, episode 212. Hello and welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour. This is the show where we supply the answers to your homebrewing questions and discuss all things related to craft beer. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com, click on that submit a question link at the top of the page, or now you can call or text them in by using right here 325-305-6107. I am your host, Joshua Stubing, and right over there, or pardon me, on that side of me, is the president and chief keg washer of kegconnection.com, Mr. Todd Burns. Sir, how are you doing today? Oh, hold on. It's like the old days. I muted you. Now you're unmuted. Hey, man, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm so good now that I can hear you. Man, I haven't done that in a while. It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't screw up, which I'm going to cut the music. Let's get right into it. Last week's episode, James and I recorded. We recorded it on Wednesday. I got it done early. I even talked about it in the episode. Oh, we're done early. You're welcome, everybody. Now that we're published on time. I get up Monday morning. So I get my inbox. I have an email. This guy's like, hey, how come no episode this week? What happened? And I was like, oh, this idiot. You're not going to tell me. So I start writing them back. And then here's the only smart thing I did, Todd. Before sending the message, I was like, I should go check if there's actually an episode or not. There was not an episode. He was right. I hit publish, and then I told him to hit refresh, which is an inside joke with Todd and I, because frequently Todd will say, why didn't you get this done on the website? I'll do it real quick, and I'll say, I see it. Or have you hit refresh? Maybe it's a cached browser. And then sure enough, then
it shows up.
And then it shows up. But
welcome to my world, everyone.
My apologies for that. Look at it this way. You get 2 episodes this week because I have 2 reminders in my phone to get this episode published. I have one for New Year's Eve at 8 in the morning, and I have one on New Year's Eve, which is tomorrow, at 4 p.m., which is the normal time we publish it. Thursdays at 4 p.m. So I have 2 reminders tomorrow. So there's no way. My wife lately has been accusing me of having dementia or bad short-term memory. She might be onto something. I don't know. Maybe I need more vitamin. Is it vitamin C that helps with that, or fish oil? Fish oil. I need more fish oil.
So what happened on a lot of people probably aren't watching this on video, but I know you're redoing your office, but It looks very different right now. There's no screen or.
Oh, well, I position my new workstation that I'm recording from is facing a different way. So that's why I don't have the guitar wall in the background. And then I started getting new posters and stuff. So like that sumo poster behind me is a placeholder. Last week's episode was a different sumo poster because I'm playing with this wall. And then my wife tells me to stop poking holes in my wall because she wants to sell our house now. Because she found she found a dream home, and I'm poking all these holes in my wall, and she's like, each poke is like $5,000 off the value, moron. She didn't say that, but she said the moron.
So will you have like a little studio area in the new home?
No, well, so that's the thing. This house that she made me walk, and if we ended up getting it, she wanted a bigger house because we have 3 kids. When we got this house, the plan was 2 kids. She fooled me into getting her knocked up an extra time. I didn't want to do it. I pushed her away.
Well, you wanted to do part of it.
Well, the practice is the best part, but I mean, we had an understanding of safety and precaution, and she broke that rule. But we have 3 kids with a 3-bedroom house, and this studio that I have is my garage that's converted. On the new house, it's a 4-bedroom, but she was like, oh, you could use the upstairs bedroom because there's one. It's a bedroom, but it's like big space. And she's like, you could use that because it's plenty of space. And then our 2 youngest kids can share a room. And I said, but that defeats the purpose of buying the bigger house then. If you're going to just throw them in.
Does it have a garage?
It does. So, and it has a windowed garage. So I'll probably finish out the garage of that house.
Maybe not the whole thing. Have one place to park a car. And
correct.
Have a little studio of some sort. That'd be good.
I think it would be real good.
Well, good. Well, I'm excited about the end of the year show.
Yes.
Where is James? I haven't seen James yet.
Poor James is working hard so we can hardly work. He went out of his way to decline doing this show because he's cracking the whip at headquarters is what I've heard.
He's trying to get all the inventory stuff, end of year inventory.
He wants to get it all done, and he's an efficient man. I can only imagine his many, many years of experience at the parts store probably has him conditioned to doing inventory.
Well, I pay the end of year personal property, which basically means inventory on both companies, and property tax on the building and the land.
Yeah.
So I was done after that. Like, I wrote those 3 checks, and I just wanted to start drinking right away. But, I haven't. I was gonna say.
I don't see a beer in your hand. I don't even know.
I should get a beer.
I don't even know what you have on tap there anymore because it seems like it's just floating a keg.
I have 3 beers on tap, and they're about to. I've got to try to float some stuff before dry January.
You read my mind. I was just about to segue. I texted you right after Christmas because I won 2 bottles in a family. My family on both sides. We do White Elephant, not Secret Santa. Secret Santa is when you draw someone's name and you buy for them, I think. White Elephant's when you just bring a gift of a certain value and everyone kind of draws from it and then you can steal during the rounds or whatever.
And you got nice gifts. See, our White Elephants in my family, it's like a gag thing. So
our company
you have to bring something that you want to get rid of, basically.
Do you remember, I'll finish what I won real quick, but do you remember the company White Elephant we did 5 or 6 years ago?
Yes.
And at that restaurant in Comanche, and it was a gag one, or at least you'd made it seem like it should be a gag one, because what I had done was I went to the dollar store and I bought a bunch of romance novels, and then I bought a thing of lotion and tissue, and I bundled it all up. And remember the woman who got it, though, was a very, very nice lady, but very devoutly religious. And she's the one who got my gift, and she opens it up, and it's all these romance novels and lotion and tissue. And she goes, I don't get it. And I was just dying laughing, like, no, please don't anybody who knows tell her that I brought that. Please don't anybody tell. But no, my family, it's a lot of booze. And so funny enough, on the first night of Christmas Eve with my mom's side of the family, I ended up with a bottle of Bullet whiskey, which you've told me is delicious.
Yes.
And then on Christmas Day with my dad's side, I had a bottle of Woodford Reserve that my pop stole from me.
Oh,
yeah.
Woodford Reserve.
You know what's so funny? Yeah. He stole it from me. He brought it. That was his gift to the White Elephant. He took it, and so I had to go steal. It was a Bullet set, another glass of Bullet, but it was the one that also had the 2 coffee mugs in it, like those gift sets.
Oh, that's what I got my brother for Christmas.
Yeah, so I stole that from my cousin, and because it was the last round, that's what I kept. So Christy was like, my wife, Christy was like, I'm going to keep the coffee mugs and you can have the booze, but I don't really drink whiskey at home by myself. So I told you I'm going to bring them up to the ranch. So extra happy.
Well, you got
Christmas.
to send them overnight. I got to drink them tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. You have one more. Yeah, you're going to do dry January for sure.
Yeah.
I'm considering doing it. I know I did sober October, but I only drink on Friday nights really with my wife on the porch. And sometimes on Sundays with my dad. Well, now that we have good beer on tap, it's every Sunday. So that's a lie. But
that's very strange because I look at your, Facebook / Instagram, and it seems more often than that. I need to go through some of the listings, but I'm almost certain it's more than 2 times.
You sound like my mother. I pool my photos together, Mom. And I post them throughout the week.
You post them throughout the week. That makes much more sense.
Drip content. I don't drink that much, Mom. I'm just posting content. I just drank a lot on one day, Ma. And she also, my mom gets pissed at me, or she'll get after me. She doesn't realize the alt glasses are 9 ounces. And when I take the photos, I take them close, and she thinks they're like pint glasses. She's like, why you drink so much? Like at the ranch, why do you drink so much? Like, Mom, we only had like 5 beers in 9-ounce increments. It wasn't that much. And then because I don't show her everything we're drinking, Todd, up there at the ranch. But
right,
it's going to be a boring January up there at the ranch with you not drinking, because I don't like to drink by myself. I feel like I have a problem when I drink by myself. Well,
I have no problem with it.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. When I did Sober October, you were drinking right in front of me on the patio. You're right. You were holding in my face. You don't want any? You don't want any?
That's good, isn't it?
You know what? Maybe screw it. I'm gonna drink that whiskey in front of you. I'm gonna bring it up for you, and I'll make my own Manhattan in front of you. Do you give up cigars too? I forget. Is Dry January total abstaining from vices, or will you smoke a cigar?
I probably would. I don't smoke as many anymore. They kind of bother my throat and stuff in the morning, and but I'd probably smoke a cigar. Yeah.
Wait, this is big news. Cigars bother your throat? Is that what they do?
And they also
they're also bad for you.
I don't feel good if I have a big cigar and drink a few beers. Whereas if I just had the beer, I would feel fine.
Yeah, I got you. It's just funny. Like, they make my throat itch. Yeah, that's what smoking does. That's what makes me a man. No, yeah. It's not. When I get throat or lung cancer or gum cancer, I can't make that joke anymore. It'll just be sad.
You'll be going, that's what makes me a man.
Welcome to the Homebrew Happy Hour.
Of course, most people can't see that we're putting a little thing against our throats.
Yes. And we're not making fun of people who've had that trachea operation. Poor people. And I actually, what did my wife show me? Because she hates that I smoke. She showed me this guy who had jaw surgery it was a jaw cancer from cigars. He was a lifelong cigar smoker, and like in his 50s, they basically removed his whole lower jaw. And so he can't talk at all. They couldn't do reconstruction because of some kind of bone issue. And she goes, yeah, you see, that's going to be you. And I was like, but you're praying for that. Like I was
just about to say that. You're not talking anymore. Wow.
Yeah, you all would love that. Are you kidding me? Like the show would suck because you'd be the main host, and nobody wants that. But it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But anyway, yeah, James is out. Christmas. We hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. We're happy you're back, Todd, from the beach. Real quick, how was it?
No, it's so good. I fished so much, and I'm really getting into surf fishing with the 9-foot pole and wading halfway out and throwing it way out there. And the weather was great, so I could get in the water and get up to my tummy and cast way out there. And it was a lot of fun. I caught a lot of fish, a lot of whiting mainly. I didn't catch hardly any hardheads, those ones that you fished when you were last time you were at the coast, and you talking about how bad the hardheads were. So
at Port A, you were at South Padre.
Yeah, but they're the same. I think they're very seasonal. Well, I don't know. We caught some on the boat we went out on, but I only caught 1 or 2 on the surf. Mainly whiting, and I ate. I
was going to ask, did you keep them?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I filleted them all.
You did? Whoa, dang! I forgot.
Well, who else would fillet them?
I don't know. I'd imagine I'd look up somebody to do it for me. That's how I live my life. Is can I pay someone to do it for me? That's why this show doesn't.
I take this cutting board to the beach, and I
nice.
have a beer and fillet them, and I fillet them when I catch them, and I'm still fishing while I'm filleting them.
Nice. So
poles are out. Dan,
so you're a one-man operation. You had the bait on you as well.
Oh yeah.
You weren't worried about shark?
I just waited out and casted the line and came back in. No.
I got you. That's what I was saying. You weren't fishing on the sandbar. You were putting your pole on the shore.
On the shore, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. You had to do it. We had to do it sometime.
I would love to go to the beach with you. We've talked about doing the beach together. We've talked about cruising together. We've talked about Big Bend together. But it's all been talk. It's all just been talk. It
sounds kind of weird when you say those all together, but anyway,
you're a context. So anyway, and then the last thing before we get into this week's show, if today is the last day, if you want to get in on our Patreon December recipe kits, which is the Lord of the ESB or the Sweet Melt Stout, and I can, again, as I've done this whole month, vouch that they're both delicious, wonderful recipes. We'd love to have you on our community. Todd, we're at 82 Patreon members now.
Thank you very much, everyone. We really appreciate it.
We do. And when you join at the top tiers, you get your swag bag with the shirt and whatever. I don't think we're reordering hats, so we got to get those Sam Becker hats back in. But all the stickers, the coasters, and this beautiful metal sign from our friends at tintackers.com, the Homebrew Happy Hour sign. And I'm trying to think of what else for that tier. Oh, anyone of any level can get it. You just have to message me. We've already sold 4 of them for $15. That just covers our shipping basically to wherever it goes. Cause it's,
we don't make any money.
We
like sending the signs out.
We really do. Yeah. It was not a money making endeavor, which I'm great at those.
You know, in the Patreon program, we want you to know, cause I paid taxes today and then I was driving by the campus and seeing what they spent my money on, this new huge building that I don't even know what they're going to use it for. And I thought, God, what a waste. I just paid all that money. We spend your money on beer.
It's true. It is
well spent money.
And it's reinvested in it. I'd love to say that the few grand or whatever we get a month off Patreon all goes towards my pocket. It doesn't. In a way it does. It goes in my belly. But we do.
You buy a lot of equipment too.
We do. Oh God!
To make the videos better, the podcast better. You spend a lot of money on equipment.
I do spend a lot of money. Hey! Which, by the way, our new board just shipped to replace the board I ruined. So thanks, Todd, for buying that for us.
Absolutely.
We had to.
Thank you, Patreon members.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, we are now. When I am on the road, we can actually adequately do a show. Whether it be the revamped recipe recap that is coming back, or it be the podcast episodes themselves. We do appreciate y'all. So you can always go to patreon.com/homebrew happy hour to get more information about the different tiers that you can join and the tiers that receive benefits. All of them have some kind of perk, but the higher you go up, the more bang for your buck you get. Like the $50 tier for a recipe every month, $35 tier recipe every other month. And when you look at what you get, you'll see too that it's not a money-making endeavor. We're putting it right back into you guys, but we appreciate all y'all's support.
Speaking of making money, or doing our job, do we have questions today? Are we going to do our job? And
yes, I have 4 questions, and because it's our year-end show, I fielded a bunch of questions that you could call them softballs, but we always do this on our year-end show, or we try to do this, where it's kind of a recap of the year, our favorites, our least favorites, all that. So let me get right into it. Our first one came from Jonathan B., who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Jonathan wrote, "Merry Christmas, gents. I hope you all were good enough to get everything you asked for this year. This brings me to my question. What was your single most favorite piece of homebrewing equipment that you used in 2020? Todd, I'll kick it off to you. Do you have just one single piece of equipment that you could say, I'm glad I got it this year, or I'm glad I had it and was able to use it?
We really did a lot of work on the 3-tier system because we're working on developing our new system. So I got a new controller, and the new controller has much simpler controls on it. It's instead of punching in this terrible program mode that the old ones have, the new one basically has a dial that you turn and you push it, and it's more than that though. It's just, it's a big box that controls everything. And by far, that's my favorite piece of homebrewing equipment is the upgrade to my 3-tier system, which will benefit everybody that decides to get one at some point, because we're learning more and more and getting our equipment better. So that's my favorite piece of equipment.
And you're really a stickler. What I think I appreciate most about your R&D process, whether it would be how we brew our recipes or what we brew on, you're very much a stickler for using the equipment you're going to be selling.
Yes.
Which does help the end result for the products we end up developing or the recipe kits we end up developing, because you're very prideful too. You don't want to, like, there's been products like the mini flex regulator, one that you've decided to discontinue because it had issues or whatever, and you just don't feel comfortable selling a product that might come back and reflect poorly on us or we.
Well, yeah, a really good example of that would be the new false bottom we got in. We got a new false bottom in for the system we're developing, and it had these great 4 legs on it that made it look very, very strong, and it collapsed in the middle when we put enough grain on it. So now we have to put a leg in the middle as well. Yeah. I know that's kind of hard to visualize, but if you could see it, it would make sense. But it's basically a $3 change that we have to make, and it'll make all the difference in the world. I'm telling you right now, I would have never thought that would have happened. The only way we knew that was going to happen was to use it and have it actually happen by dumping a bunch of grain on it. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, putting it through the ringer, which James was happy to do when I was up there last. He got to brew on the prototype of the new system. So and I'm pretty sure he had a really good time with it too, because he seemed
it was really funny because he was like, "Wow, this new pump works great. Look how it's just shooting the liquid out." Well, yeah, it's because the false bottom collapsed and there was
of course it worked great, obviously. Yeah.
It does work great. It was just phenomenally working well, and then all of a sudden we started having issues. So
he realized
you find these things out, and we've already changed the design and talked to the people that are producing it for us, and
that's part. That is part of the R&D. It is the testing it and all that. Yeah, the 3-tier I'm very excited about. I wish we had more info, like a release date, but it's still prototyping because we have to get it right before we put it to market. We don't want to address things post market, right?
Yeah, and I think I could safely say that we will have it in 2021 before 6 months. Maybe sooner. How about that? Let's throw that out there.
Okay, I'm holding you to it. When I say things like, hey, this episode's going to publish in time for Christmas, it doesn't happen. But when you say things, it has some weight behind it. So we'll hold you to that. So hopefully within the first 2 quarters of the year is what we're shooting for.
And we would love to find some people that want to come and brew on it.
Yes.
And do our first run through, which we're going to do here.
Yes.
In the luxurious barn. Okay, it's not that luxurious.
It can be.
It is a lot of fun. And we're going to brew together, have other people use it, maybe build a campfire, drink a few beers.
Can we disclose that, like, part of what we're doing with the 3-tier is also developing a coursework around it? And part of that coursework is not just digital access, but we're selling an experience option as well, where they can come brew with us, learn how to do it there, and have that amount apply to their 3-tier system if they've already purchased it and or if they choose to.
Well, I explained this whole thing to my wife on our vacation once again because I need her to do a few things, and she's like, "Wait a minute. You're going to have a bunch of guys come to the barn and you're going to brew and drink beer all weekend. And that's work." And I was like, yes, that's work. Absolutely.
Sounds like my wife or my family when they're asking me about work. How's it going? I was like, oh, work is going good. And my cousin's like, yeah, I follow you on Instagram, drunkie. I'm like, what? Whoa. Are you kidding me? My job's way more boring than my Instagram will make it appear. But that's what social media is. You're not supposed to put the boring stuff on there. But yeah.
So what's your favorite piece of brewing equipment?
I don't call it brewing equipment, but one piece of equipment when I read this question that just jumped out to me that
I don't know if I like where this is going.
That I know you might be surprised. The Blickman beer gun. I think the Blickman beer gun. I think is my seal of approval gear of 2020 that I would recommend to anybody who kegs. I think the Blickman.
I don't use mine very much, but I love to. When I do use it, I love it. Yeah.
That's what I mean, and it wasn't a piece of gear that I used a whole lot either. My dad and I maybe used it 4 times this year, but when we used it, it always acted how it was supposed to. No frills, and it makes bottling. Granted, albeit it's bottling from a keg, it makes it so pain-free. it makes it so. I wish that I could say this episode was sponsored by Blitzman because of how much I'm going to be talking about it right now, but it's not. They don't give me any money yet. I'd love to even barter with you guys if you want to give me that new fermenter coming out or whatever. But the Blitzman beer gun was my choice of gear for this year. It impressed me. It made bottling enjoyable. And granted, I mean, we had it in 2019, but we really used it more in 2020. And I love that gear. It was actually, I think, my dad's Christmas present last year.
I was going to say, I didn't know you had it in 2019.
Well, I just mean this year. I mean Christmas of 2019. So it was okay. It was, but we used your Blitzman beer gun most of last year when we used it. And then,
I was so happy when you got one, and I got mine back.
Yeah, that's right. And then this year, my dad, I think I told you on one episode, I was telling him, Pop, I know you're listening. If you don't want a big conical gift in Christmas, you better speak up now because I'm about to order it. He immediately texted me. He goes, I don't have space for it yet. Don't do it. I don't have space for it yet. Don't do it. So this year's Christmas gifts, it was like the first year I haven't gotten him anything beer related. I got him some cigars and a book and a thing for his Apple, an accessory for all his Apple accessories. But the first time in a while, I haven't gotten brew stuff. But this year, I'm going to add on to this question, and you can answer it after I do. I would say for 2021, the one piece of gear that I want to get that I haven't mentioned maybe before, I want to get a tilt hydrometer. I want to get more techy. I want to get Colton back on from Homebrewing DIY podcast. We've had him on the show before, and we were on his show. I want to get more involved with him and maybe do like a raspberry, or what do they call it? Brewberry pie. It's a contraption for getting your tap information on a display, like how much you actually have left or whatever. And the tilt plays nice with it. And I've only heard good things about the tilt. So for 2021, I think the tilt, or for 2021, I think the tilt hydrometer is what I want. Is there a piece of gear that you're like, or something that you want to utilize more in 2021 for your brew day or fermentation?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is I have thought about getting an additional fermenter, a large fermenter. And I don't really, that's the only thing I could, I mean, my main goal again is to finish this 3-tier system and get it out and do all the testing on it. I mean, if I can get that done, I'll think about something new and exciting for 2022. How about that?
Yeah, that's perfect. And that's a great segue to our second question. Came from our buddy Ron, who texted his question in to our hotline at 325-305-6107. Ron wrote in, any New Year brewing resolutions? I want to jump from partial mash to full all grain and will be purchasing the gear from Keg Connection. He knows how to get his question on the show. Thank you. Yes. Finding your show was a highlight of my 2020. Thanks. I think the 3-tier this is when I was going to bring it up. I not only want you and James, because I'm not really doing anything for the 3-tier besides the marketing side of it. I want y'all to get it finalized and out, mainly because I want to get my Pop and I brewing on 3-tier. It's life-changing. And that might be a hyperbole. It is very much better. Very much better. I liked it more.
How about better?
I think it's a little better. I'm brewing on y'all's 3-tier, the one in your barn specifically. I love the spite system at work, but the one you and James have, that one in your barn just dialed in. It's so fun to brew on, and it makes it brewing at big volumes seem easier than I've been brewing in little volumes, if that makes sense. It's a more enjoyable experience. And I know my dad's still set on, I want to get the spite solo figured out before I do anything else. But we don't need to, man. We don't need to. What?
You use the same voice for every person.
I only have one impersonation. Yeah, it's either Kermit the Frog or I'm Todd Burns. That's the two I got. I've got two. I think for brewing resolutions, mine wouldn't be like I think we brew a lot between you and I and James. Collectively, we've got brewing down. There's not really a lull that we have too frequent of like.
You mean we have it down as if we brew a lot, not we have perfected it.
Correct. No, that's what I meant. No, quantity, not quality, quantity. We're doing pretty good. We got that down. So I think in years past, I've been like, I want my dad and I to brew more frequently. which isn't a bad idea, but my real resolution is to get on a 3-tier, brew in 15-gallon batches, and get in on y'all's beer trade to where...
Yeah, we need 3 people. It needs to be...
It has to be 3.
A 3-way.
It's
got to be a 3-way.
I'm going to take this clip out of context for our Instagram. 3-way is my goal for 2021. You, me, and James... okay, no, put it back in the I'll put it back in the context.
Okay.
If I join that beer trade, then I can actually lessen the amount of time we brew because we'll always constantly be trading. Like if James does a delicious Czech lager and I do the breakfast stout and you do anything that you've been nailing recently, they've been all delicious. We can just trade a 5-gallon to each person and rinse and repeat.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to, and that way we can keep my 6 tap system is hard to keep full. I need another feed into it.
You do, and I want to join it. I am throwing my hat into that party because I think if we make it that way with the 3 of us, how much better it'll be for all of us. And
I think James and I have a strong enough relationship that we are willing to accept you and start a 3-way with you. So you have that's an official invitation.
Wonderful. Let me make sure my Google phone heard that so it can log it in for my FBI agent. Did you? But do you have any specific brewing resolutions, or is it still also tied to finalizing that 3-tier and getting it to market?
My resolution last year was to try to brew a different recipe every time, and brew more. And I did that. It's one of those very rare occasions where I actually followed through and did my New Year's resolution. Of course, it's a lot easier to say I'm going to brew more and make more beer than it is I'm going to lose a bunch of weight and keep it off. Right?
Absolutely. No, but my weight loss ones were done on January 4th. But my drinking goals, they're still going good.
Yep, still going good.
I think for 2021, besides the 3-tier stuff and getting and brewing in bigger volume so I can be in y'all's beer trade, I've still never made cider. I'd like to make cider. We're having a guest in January, Corey. She goes by Miss Cider on Instagram. We're having her on the show, and I'm going to have to be embarrassed to tell her, like, I drink cider. I've never made it. And
why don't you make it before the show? It doesn't take long.
No, it doesn't take long. Well, what's fermentation? I mean, fermentation is still a good 7 days, right?
Well, you said you were going to have her on in a month, I thought.
No, or it's early January. I mean, I still have time.
Okay.
I think she's on the 14th, whatever that Thursday, not the first Thursday of January, but the second Thursday. So whatever that is, she's going to be on. What I'll probably do is not do it.
Should we tell people we have another guest too that's coming up?
Oh yeah, no, I won't ruin. That's yours. Go for it.
Yeah, so Horst is going to come back on, so we're very excited about that.
He's replacing me. Surprise! Happy 2021.
I emailed back and forth with him the other day, and he actually had some very interesting topics, and he gave me several. I was like, I'm not exactly sure what the best thing to talk about is. We should take questions, and he gave me some topics I was just blown away by. So I can't wait to talk to him and hear what he has to say.
His episode was one of the highest consumed in I don't know the way to word it, in the shortest amount of time. So his numbers in the first week of publishing had some of our best numbers of any episode in 2020. And which is great for our show, but also people love Horst. And what's not to love about the guy? He was a very enjoyable guest. I had a great time with him. I thought our interview was fun. And you're right. I was in that email thread where he was so funny because we told him how well enjoyed his show was to people in our audience. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry to take the limelight away from you. Or maybe I'm not." He has a good sense of humor.
Oh yeah, he does.
I think it'll be fun to have him back on. And, we could do an update on the recipe because that alt beer turned out phenomenal. Is that one you still have on tap or is it done?
No, there's still some on there, and that's not fully his recipe because I didn't have all the.
That's right.
The new grains yet, but we did follow his guideline without exactly the right ingredients, so we now have to brew it again with exactly the right ingredients. So.
Oh, and that's why January would be good for you to brew it because then you can enjoy it in February.
Absolutely. Are we still on our first question?
No, this is the second question. This is the brewing resolution. So,
okay.
I'll recap the answer. Mine is brewing on a 3-tier system, jumping in on the beer trade with you and James, and making. I was gonna say make more kombucha. I made enough kombucha. I have another batch fermenting right now. Made cider. Here's one that I did have to write down so I remember to say it. I've never brewed with my pop, at least. I've never brewed a lager. I want to brew a lager this year. And I don't know if I want to, I might do a Marzen and actually lager it until October or September, till Oktoberfest. I might do that. I just have to have obviously a vessel and the conditions to be able to lager it. But you and James do lagers all the time, and I get super jealous of all the lager. I mean, I get to consume it, but I've never brewed it. So I think doing a lager would be great. What does that look on your face? You had a brain fart? What is that?
No.
Okay, you look so intense.
No. I was. It's not important. I was just thinking about something.
You daydream while I'm talking? Is this normal? Do you normally not pay attention to me when I'm talking?
No. I heard everything you said.
Okay, now you definitely sound like my wife. Anyways, thank you, Ron, for texting in your question to our hotline at 325-305-6107. This is a great time to remind you all, if and when we take your question on a future episode, we do give you a $25 gift card to kegconnection.com, courtesy of Mr. Burns. Thank you, sir, for your generosity. Moving on to our third question of this year-end show. It came from our buddy Brian, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Brian wrote, "This year was crazy, but even crazier is that I finally have a beer I feel is good enough to fuel my dreams of going pro as a brewer." Wow. It's a wit beer I've been working on for a while, and I finally have it zoned in. Is there a style or batch you have made this year that surprised you or made you proud? Shorter version of my question: what was the best beer you brewed this year? Proust, Brian. For me, Todd, it's got to be that Kolschweizen. We really, my dad and I were trailblazers. We made a new genre of Kolsch. It was very estery. People. No,
it was definitely different. I'll say that.
It was terrible. You poured it out. That's the only keg we've ever poured out. No, the only beer that I feel like we have dialed in, and it's not us dialing in. I want to preface this, and maybe this is going to push recipe kits on people, which is good. My dad and I are not making our own recipes because we're brewing homebrew supply recipes, which a lot of them are from James and Lorena, and I think Joe has his hand in a bunch of them too. The breakfast stout recipe that we brew, I think, is the best recipe, the best batches of beer we ever have made. Last year's recipe and this year's recipe, they've been the best. But that I don't want to boast too much because we're just following a solid recipe, which I think is a testament to good recipes. If you have a good recipe, whether you make it yourself or you buy the ingredient kit from a Keg Connection or Homebrew Supply or wherever, you can end up with incredible beer that you should also be proud of. I just want to put it into context that my most proud beer has been other people's recipes. And I'm okay with that. The breakfast stout, when we had family over, I was so proud to share that because I know it nails the style, an imperial coffee stout, and it's delicious. Who doesn't like imperial coffee stouts? It came out really good this year. So that was the one that I'm extremely proud of. Do you have, I could tell you the batches of beer once you're done that you've brewed that I thought were phenomenal, but what in your eyes are the best beer you've brewed 2020?
I don't really, I always struggle with this question because I like so many different styles of beer. And I think this year, not just me, but me, you and James, especially James, we've brewed some beers that were really good. And when I was on vacation, I took a bunch of different beers with me, and then I bought some there. And when I got home and I poured that Sierra Nevada out of my kegerator, the Christmas clone, and I took a sip of it, I went, "Oh, I'm home. That's so good." And it's like, wow, that's homebrew, and it's the best beer I'd had in a day or two, in a few days. That one turned out really well, but it's probably not even the best beer that we've done this year. I think you have a better memory than me. What are some of the ones that you?
How dare you? Because as you were saying that, I was trying to scroll through my Instagram on my phone because I was like, oh crap, I can't remember if he brewed the Yingling clone is one that stood out to me only because I've had Yingling. My buddy, like when I go to Florida to Disney, they have it all over Florida. And my buddy has brought me back to Yingling. It's not a beer that I go, I'm going out of my way to get it. But your clone was one of the best lagers that I've had this year, commercial or homebrew. That really stood out. The alt beer, I don't remember, was the blonde alt 2020 or was that 2019? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Because the blonde alt,
the other
James.
one I remember is the other stout. Wow, that.
Oh, the melt stout, obviously. I knew, yeah.
So
we
good.
still have a little bit on tap at my pops.
Oh, I don't have any. I haven't had any in a while. You should take the Blickman beer gun. Oh wait, I'm not drinking. Never mind.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm gonna be there in January, buddy. You're not drinking. I'll bottle it and drink it in front of you.
You go. There you go.
My dad and I on New Year's Eve, we're gonna share our bottles of breakfast stout from last year. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
On New Year's Eve.
That's cool.
And we're going to do a compare. Maybe, you know what? I could take we can just do it on my phone. We should do a quick video. It wouldn't be a recipe recap because we already did one on the breakfast stout that did get published. But we could do just a comparison video for our Instagram because I am interested. You know, when I brew a style like this breakfast stout, and my dad was like, I think last year's was better. I just remember last year being good. I couldn't tell you. Better is so subjective. So we're going to try it from the bottle, and we're going to pour this batch, and we'll see what's different, what's not. We use the exact same ingredients, premium Folgers coffee included. So we'll be able to.
God, I can't believe that.
We'll be able to do a 1-for-1 and see how it turned out.
I did have the coffee stout. Let me see. Real Ale makes one, and they used to use a different brand. Now they're using Katie's coffee or something, and I had one while I was gone. It was really good.
Their coffee porter is so good.
Yeah,
Real Ale just has really good beer. Which let me add on to this question because it'd be relevant. What was your favorite commercial beer that you had this year? It doesn't have to be a new one you ever tried, but like for your money, the best commercial beer that you consumed this year would be what?
I mean, it's such a recent one, but this year's Christmas stout from Christmas
Ale from Anchor.
Anchor
I knew you were gonna say that because it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
It's not it's a stout, isn't it?
No. It's from Anchor. That's not a stout. It's not a lager.
I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah, go get one.
Talking.
Yeah. So anyway, that's when I told the guy, "Give me my $5 now." Todd, if he is right and I'm wrong, which I'm not wrong because it's so piney, it's not a stout. He's obviously still drunk, friends. But if it's not just an ale, like a piney IPA,
this beer right here. Here's my
for audio listeners. I'll read it.
So good.
Yeah, it's
backwards on the camera.
No. It showed up correct.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I set up your camera, it's not doing the.
They call it a special ale, but it's always very dark, or not super dark, but it's
but it's
dark.
so hop forward. I always assumed it was like a spiced ale, like
special ale. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
But it's always got a little bit of pine.
Very piney
berries in it, and it tastes like a Christmas tree. It's better this year than it was last year. Last year's I was good, but I think this year's seemed like it's a little different every year. Well, and they've done it for like 40 years.
That's what I was going to ask. That is one of Sierra Nevada's is the same every year in celebration, but Anchor changes theirs, correct?
Every year, yeah.
And they
46th. This is the 46th one. Man. So that I would say commercial beer. I love that.
You know, and I guess I could run to my fridge because I still have some. Mine's a recent. Mine's a recent.
You know why I
said
porter is Anchor does make a really good porter. I was thinking of that.
They do have a good porter. You've had that in your fridge before. And Anchor Steam, obviously, that's one of the best commercial beers of all time. Anchor Steam, the California Common, and that's the style you need to brew. The last time you did a California Common was really good. I think I put that on request from you and an ESB, but you've told me I've already brewed those. I'm brewing something different. So maybe you'll change your mind in 2021.
Was that me or your dad? I can't tell.
Y'all are the same person. He's just 8 inches taller than you. But my commercial beer, my favorite one for this year, is also very recent. And people are probably tired of me posting about it or talking about it. But that Galactic Cowboy from Left Hand, holy moly, that was good. That was really good. And I got plastered in a hot tub in Port Aransas, Texas. I had like 4 of them. And we were sitting in the hot tub. My wife was drinking like Mike's Hard Lemonade or something girly. And no offense to any men who drink Mike's Hard Lemonade. It's very masculine, testosterone-driven drink. I apologize for discrepancy or saying those disparaging words about it. But anyway, in a hot tub, she's drinking that, and I had the ice chest right there, just kept opening them. And then like after the third one, I was like, babe, I think I'm drunk. She's like, I'm going inside. I was like, okay. I had another one. I don't know how I made it in. I don't know.
Did she take advantage of you? It was your anniversary, right?
Oh yeah. By leaving me there to drown. She was hoping that I would die. I shouldn't joke like that. That's how the lead singer of one of my favorite bands ever, the Cranberries. That's how she died. Not in a hot tub. She got pissed drunk or something in her hot tub, and no one was around, and she just fell right into the water and drowned.
Bathtub, yeah.
It was a bathtub, yeah.
Yeah.
The hot tub, but yeah, I made sure not to get that drunk. I got out in time. I couldn't tell you what happened afterwards. Honestly, it creeps up on you, man. And also, this is my mom thinks I lie when I say this, dude. When I come up to the ranch, we frequently share a bottle or a can if it's not on tap, and we do it in like 7-ounce increments because it's even less because they're like 12 or 14-ounce cans, and so it's different when you drink 7-ounce as opposed to the full 14, and then multiply that by 2 or 3. It's a very different experience where my brain was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And my heart's like, keep doing it. Keep doing it. But the Galactic Cowboy, it is almost, I've always said Left Hand's Malt Stout is like my favorite malt stout ever, and my favorite beer as well from Left Hand. I think the Galactic Cowboy took that spot from Left Hand. They are still from Left Hand, but I mean, it might be my favorite Left Hand beer now. The Galactic Cowboy was delicious. But yeah, that's my favorite one of commercial release. And we drank a ton of good beer this year. So it's real hard, like you said, to remember everything. We need to do better in January through May of keeping track of what we're drinking so that on the year-end show, we have better memory, because usually our memory starts in October.
But January will be easy for me.
You're right. January, I had nothing. Yeah. Cool story, bro. All right. So anyways, thank you, Brian, for submitting your question. Todd, I've got one more question for this week's show before I let you go. Came from our friend Carrie, who used the submission form at homebrewhappyhour.com. Carrie wrote, great show, guys. I'm sure you get this question all the time, but I was given a $300 gift card to Keg Connection, and as a newbie, I can't decide how to invest it. I'm currently stovetop brewing extract beers, and I ferment in a bucket in my bedroom closet. If you had to do it all over again, would you start upgrading the hot side of brewing or the fermentation side of brewing first? I guess I don't have to spend it all on one or the other, but I think my money could provide some sweet upgrade if I did decide to put it all towards one or the other. Thanks for taking my question, and Happy New Year. We do get this question frequently, and I don't know how to answer it because I'm in a spoiled position of having access to all the nice and shiny toys. I think I would say fermentation is always future-proof, and fermentation is an extremely important part for the end result of your beer. Therefore, it's always a good idea to invest in the fermentation side of things when you can. Yes?
I would do just the opposite. I would invest in the hot side because I still use buckets. I mean,
you do.
I have a great fermenter, and it's, the 15-gallon. Well, it's a little more than 15 gallons, and I have it glycol controlled, and it works great, and it's great for lagers. But a lot of times I will keep a beer in there so long I will use buckets, and a lot of the beers that you're talking about that you really enjoyed this year were fermented in buckets. So the buckets really do work well. I'll probably get some hate mail over this, but so I would, if I was gonna jump into all grain and try to brew more, I would probably either invest in one of the systems if you want to stay with 5 gallons, or bigger brew pots and brew more.
You have a visitor.
My dogs have broken into the barn and left the door open.
If I had $300, what I would do is get a better door. I would get a better door to my barn.
Yeah. Well, they came in and left. Well, it was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's how my kids are every now and then when I'm recording. They don't make an appearance there because my door is over there, so you can't ever see them or hear them. Frequently, though, they open if you ever see my eyes go over there and go, the dad look.
Okay.
The hot side of things, you're right. Okay, you're right. You can. I guess my mindset, just because I don't have that kind of setup like you have on the cold side, he's fine. Milo's a good boy. Because you have already the CF15. You're speaking. I would not say a position of privilege, but I don't have that. I don't have temperature control fermentation. I think that is truly the game changer of a brewing operation is temperature controlled fermentation, because then
but you're not going to do it for $300.
Okay, good point. And you're right. And you know what? And I should have asked Carrie. I'm asking you now, Carrie, or I'll write him back. $300 seems like a specific amount from someone for something. Like, we frequently will get people calling our customer service lead, Zach, and saying, what can maybe I should get this all in one or this all in one. And Zach will frequently say, if you don't want to choose for them, get a gift card around that ballpark, and then they'll pick the one they want, because a lot of them, besides the Grainfather, are in that 350 to 450 range.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great thing to buy. I mean, right. It's kind of weird that I suggest it, since I never use one.
You don't. You never have. Yeah.
But I just don't brew 5 gallons anymore. The other thing, I would probably be more inclined to do the 10-gallon 2 ice chest system. What does that run?
It's usually 3.
The cooler brew.
Yeah, the cooler brew, I mean, it drops below 300 frequently. And right now at the 15% off, it's got to be. You're looking it up, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. Because
that cooler brew system, man, I haven't used it a lot because I have the 3-tier, but when I have used it, damn, it's worked good.
Oh, the cooler brew is phenomenal. Like that, when we all grain brew, we've done on me and my pop, that is, we've done it on a foundry. We've brewed on the Spite Solo prototype, and the cooler brew has been our.
Yeah, it's $257 right now, so you could pay tax and everything on that. Well,
you don't know where he lives, you don't know his tax rate, but shipping though is $9.95, so we know that.
So you could get everything for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what, if it was me,
you get the cooler brew,
and I didn't have it, that's what I would spend $300.
You know what? And I know why you're saying that too, because you're a proponent of brewing at the biggest volume you possibly can, because you're like, I remember when I got the cooler brew, the first batch I did was a 5-gallon, and you were legitimately pissed at me. You got, and I wasn't even trying to share the beer.
Because
I paid for the recipe.
Get 5 gallons of beer.
No. But I even paid for that recipe, and you still scorned me. You're like, even if I didn't get my $5 or my 5 gallons, my $5. You always get your $5. But even if I didn't get my 5 gallons, it's the same amount of work. Don't brew 5 gallons on that system. Like, you were mad.
It's exactly the same amount of work. So you're going to put all the time and energy in and get half the beer. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know you were pissed. Like I was a redheaded stepchild. Like, you were pissed at me, where I was like, oh gosh, I better not ever. And we've never brewed 5 gallons on it since. In brewing that first batch of breakfast stout, maxed out that mash tun, and my dad's like, can we do this? I was like, Todd said we had to. He said we had to. We have no choice. We have to do it. But it worked out. It all worked out. You're right. I totally forgot about the cooler brew, because I was going to tell him, well, on the cold side, fermentation, $300 would make a good dent in a really nice conical, or even the solo, not the solo, pardon me, the flets from Spite. It would cover a lot of that, or the flets plus, if you wanted to get that. So on the cold side, which my recommendation on the cold side was mainly that you could have better control over the end result of your beer when you have the cold side equipment, the necessary cold side equipment. But to Todd's argument, you still make great beer in buckets and fermenting in your closet. Todd does it literally all the time. He has buckets in a closet there at the barn in one of those extra rooms.
I got to close my door. It's starting to get freezing cold in here. They
go for it.
It got really cold.
I'll keep talking. So that's my whole reasoning on the cold side. But to Todd's defense, it seems, Carrie, like you wrote in and you made it a point to tell us that you're gonna jump, or no, you didn't say that you wanted to jump. So we've been assuming that he wants to jump from extract to all grain. That was a different question. Carrie might not even want to. So how about this?
Oh yeah, he does.
Okay. And he wants to do it in 10 gallons.
Yep, 10 gallons.
Yep. The stovetop is probably...
I know what he wants.
It's very likely he's doing stovetop in less than 5 gallon batches, right? I mean, A lot of the time, stovetops are less than 5-gallon batches. They're threes or ones.
No, I mean,
really?
Most people 5 gallons. Yeah, they do 5 gallons. You don't have to actually have 5 gallons in the stovetop to make 5 gallons.
Gotcha.
We did a video one time on how to do.
It's published on youtube.com/homebrew happy hour.
Yeah, and it tells you all about that.
I just edit the stuff. I don't pay attention. I don't listen. Every now and then when I say something to Todd, he'll be like, "You've been in this industry for 13 years and you're asking me that."
The problem is that you already know the answer. You just sometimes you make statements without thinking it through.
Yeah, that's the story. That's my name of my memoir: Statements Without Thinking It Through. Yeah. My original title was going to be 3-Way with Todd and James, but I've changed it now to Statements Without Thinking It Through. But $300, you would, on the hot side of things, an all-in-one you could get covered. Or like Todd said, the cooler brew, the all-in-ones only will do 5-gallon batches. The ones that we offer, the standard ones, the Robo Brew, the Mash and Boil, Foundry, Grainfather. But the cooler brew, I agree with you. Carrie, if you have the space and you are jumping to all grain, that's the best bang for your buck. And right now, you still have, if you're listening to this on New Year's Eve, this is the last day to get 15% off site-wide at kegconnection.com. So make use of that. Make that $300 stretch for a little bit further. And
well, maybe we should continue it through New Year's Day so people have a chance after listening.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Or the Spike, if you wanted to do the cold side, their Flex, not the Flex Plus, is $250, and the Flex Plus is $375, which are both phenomenal fermenters that you can actually pressure ferment, and their tri-clamp, I'm reading all the stuff on them. They have a ton of accessories. Their Spike is doing some real cool stuff with their equipment. We enjoy all the stuff we have from Spike. So your $300 could go a long way on either side. I think we laid out the case for you there. And Mr. Burns, that's all I have for you this week, my friend. I appreciate you not doing inventory so that you could come on the show. It really means a lot to me.
That's the reason I didn't do inventory.
Yep. You would take the time of your day to say, guys, I'd love to do inventory, but I got a podcast to produce.
Well, listen, I think we should say one more thing. We really do appreciate everybody listening and everybody participating so much. We get so many emails and comments, and we just can't thank all of you enough and tell you that we're really looking forward to 2021 and maybe moving it up a notch, right?
Absolutely.
So,
we have
I'm
a lot.
excited.
We do have cool stuff planned. We mentioned the 3-tier. We have some other podcasts and Patreon stuff that we will be coming out with, including the January recipe. If you're a Patreon member, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, like Todd said, to wrap up the show, even if you're not in our Patreon, for our show has an obscene amount of listeners for what we deserve. I promise you. It's dozens of people, and we deserve half of that. So we appreciate y'all. As crappy of a year 2020 may have been to all of us in some way, or not, crappy is the wrong word, weird. It was a very weird year. We are so thankful for y'all for staying with us, for supporting us, whether you're in our Patreon or not. Your reviews, believe me, I read them all on iTunes or on Apple Podcasts and other platforms. All the nice words you have to say, even the ones who called me, I have a list of it, pretentious, snide, frivol little man. There's a lot of ones. Even you guys, thank you for giving me the courage to do this show every week and for encouraging me to want to produce content and put ourselves out there to your scrutiny. We appreciate every single one of y'all, the good and the bad. But Todd, I like you said, I know I speak on behalf of you when we say cheers to 2020 being done, and here's to looking forward to a good 2021.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And that will do it. That will do it for this episode of the Homebrew Happy Hour. If you have a question you would like us to discuss on a future episode, you can go to homebrewhappyhour.com and click on that submit a question link at the top of the page. Or now, of course, you can call or text them by using 325-305-6107. Thank you to our show sponsor, homebrewsupply.com, for supporting us and the homebrewing community. You can enjoy 15% off site-wide right now through the end of January 1st, as Todd just said, by going to homebrewsupply.com right now and also getting $9.95 flat rate shipping. On behalf of Todd Burns, the absent James Carlson, and the Pearl Media Network, I'm Joshua Stubing. Thank you for listening.
This program is made possible by the checkbook of Mr. Todd Burns and by contributions to our newly launched Patreon by viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/Homebrew Happy Hour and join our community. Thank you.